In Baldur's Gate 3, just like in tabletop D&D, the difficulty class of your spells is determined by your spellcasting ability modifier. Every spellcasting class has a different ability score that they use to calculate the spell save DC. Wizards use intelligence, clerics, druids, and rangers use wisdom, and bards, sorcerers, and paladins use charisma. But did you know that every class actually has a spellcasting ability modifier? Even classes that can't ordinarily cast spells at all. And that includes Barbarians. The game doesn't tell you this, but Barbarians actually use charisma as their spellcasting ability modifier. I'm not really sure why that is, but I guess intimidation is a charisma skill, so maybe the idea is we're intimidating Mystra into compliance? The reason that Barbarians have to have a casting stat is they actually can cast spells. They just can't do it via their class abilities. But they can get spells from other sources, including items, quest rewards, and special non-class abilities. For example, if I use a scroll of banishment to yeet Lae'zel into the Shadow Realm, she will get a saving throw to resist. The DC of that saving throw is determined by my charisma modifier, my proficiency bonus, and any bonuses I get from items. Similarly, if you use an illithid power that offers a saving throw to resist, the DC will be calculated the same way. So if you want your barbarian to use powers like Stage Fright effectively, it might be worth putting a few stat points in charisma. But that's an expensive investment because you won't use charisma for much else, except for maybe a few intimidation checks here and there. Luckily, the game has items that you can use to buff your save DC instead. And the best of these items for a martial character is this item right here, the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. This helmet gives you 2 turns of the Arcane Acuity condition each time you deal damage with a weapon attack. Arcane Acuity increases your spell attack roll and spell save DC by 1 for each turn remaining to a maximum of +7. This item is really powerful. On the first turn of combat, any character with extra attack can easily build it up to +4, and then hit the maximum of +7 by the next turn. This becomes even more powerful if you have the Awakened buff, which enables you to use your illithid powers as a bonus action. I talked about this buff in my previous video, link in the description. If you have both Awakened and the helmet, you can buff your save DC and then use an illithid power in the same turn. For example, you could use this with Mind Blast to skip the turn of every enemy combatant right at the start of combat. But there are other illithid powers that care about your save DC as well. Some of the standouts are Stage Fright to give enemies disadvantage on attack rolls, Black Hole to group up and slow enemies, or the truly busted Perilous Stakes to give enemies vulnerability to all damage. If you're playing a barbarian, the best part about illithid powers is that, unlike spells, you can use them while you're raging. This lets you play your barbarian as an illithid battle mage that sort of feels like the Blood Rager from the Pathfinder games. Some of the special rage-only attacks also work well with the helmet. For example, Tiger's Bloodlust lets you hit 3 enemies in one swing, which means you can actually get 6 stacks of Arcane Acuity with just 1 attack. By the way, I swear I wasn't trying to include Tiger's Bloodlust in yet another video. I can't help myself. I have a problem. Besides illithid powers, you can also give your martial characters the ability to cast spells with items and certain quest rewards. I have one quest reward in particular in mind. If you complete the quest to help the cursed monk by agreeing to bear his curse of laughter, you gain the ability to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter without using a spell slot. This reward is a lot better than it looks. The tooltip claims that you can only use it once per long rest, but that is a lie. Shout out to Aestus RPG for figuring this out. He has a great channel with in-depth guides for this game. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. Anyways, I'm not entirely sure how it works, but the ability seems to refresh when you start a new combat. The reason I say I'm unsure is that in a couple cases I've started combat without it refreshing. So I'm not sure if it's bugged or if it has some special condition for refreshing that I'm not aware of. But if you know, please let me know in the comments. At any rate, Tasha's Hideous Laughter is a solid single target CC effect, at least when you can cast it in every combat. And with the Helmet of Arcane Acuity, any martial character can build up a very high save DC for the spell. And it becomes even better if you add this ring right here, the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel. This item allows you to cast illusion and enchantment spells as a bonus action after you land a weapon attack. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is an enchantment spell, so this ring allows you to do the same thing that the Awakened buff allows you to do with illithid powers. You can make a couple weapon attacks to build up your Arcane Acuity, then cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter with a very high save DC in the same turn. This is still a spell, so you can't cast it while you're raging, so it probably works a little bit better on a non-barbarian character. But it's a great way to give your martial characters a way to disable 1 enemy per fight. It's a powerful combo, but also a hilarious one. I mean, it's hard to take bosses seriously while they're rolling on the floor cackling with laughter. Chosen of Baal. Right. I bet your daddy is embarrassed for you right now.